So negotiation principles. Now the first one is the one that everyone actually finds hardest to do, and that's to invest time, not emotion. It's one of the things that's unbelievably easy to say and very, very difficult to do. I've got a slide explaining each of these in a minute, so I'm just going to quickly run through them. The second thing is something called a BATNA. A BATNA is the one negotiation theory technical term that I'm going to use in this talk. You have written out what it stands for in a moment. But utterly critical, two very key ones are know how much you can pay. Know how much you can pay before you even go and do the viewing, or at least soon after the viewing, before you make that first offer. And finally, never offer the asking price. Maybe that's a ploy, maybe that's a principle. I think it's so important it has to be a principle. The first principle is if the longer you can get someone to invest, the more they're going to end up wanting to come to an agreement, because their emotions are going to be working against them. Once your vendor's emotions start coming into play, once they are having sleeping nights, not knowing whether they're going to get this damn house sold, that's when they're going to be tempted to cut you a better deal. So I told you it wasn't going to be nice. But here's the thing. Whether you use this consciously against your vendors or not is up to you. That's a moral decision. You have to make your own mind up. What you absolutely must not do is fall into the same trap yourself. Remember that when you're investing time in a negotiation, it's a deliberate negotiation ploy you're using to get the other person's emotions into play. Don't let your emotions take control of you. Don't you fall into the same trap. Don't you start offering more than you wanted to do because, ooh, you must have it. And that's why I hammer on so much about the artificial pressure. A lot of the pressure is artificial, but actually emotions aren't artificial. Emotions are real. They control you. You think the logical side of your brain controls you, 90% of the time it don't. It's the emotional side, it's your hormone levels that are making you say yes or no. Learn how to work with it, understand what's happening. I'm going to talk more about what you can pay in a moment. Right, the technical term is BATNA. BATNA, and it's written down on the slides, is best alternative to a negotiated agreement. The term comes from academic negotiation theory. We have negotiations like employee union, and they need to agree the annual wage rise, otherwise the union says they're going to go out on strike, or it doesn't work out and the union does go out on strike. And there's always this idea that when you're doing that kind of negotiation, you work out what the alternative to coming to an agreement is. You need to understand what the implications are of not getting to an agreement. And actually, as a professional investor, and by the way, I hope you all see yourselves as professional investors. Yeah? As a professional investor, your alternative is always to walk away because you have so many more deals coming through the pipeline, it does not matter one jot whether you get this one or not. Now, I've looked at my numbers over the last 15 years, and for every 100 set of properties I've got details on average I've viewed 20 of them. Of those 20, on average, I've made offers on half, so 10 out of 100. And of the properties I've started by making offers on average, I've ended up buying 1. So here's another critical thing to write down. Write down the 10-to-1 rule. If you think, go into a negotiation thinking, I'm going to track my success, I want to make sure more of my negotiations come off, you've got it completely the wrong way round. You do not want a 70% success rate in negotiations. You want a 10% success rate. If you're getting more than 10% of your properties you're offering on go through to deals, it means you're consistently offering too high.